to call in and be part of the conversation. I know you already know what we're going to talk about. It's the trending story all over Nigeria. If you've picked up the dailies this morning, you will see the trending story on the front page of the papers. It's happening again. Usually they say thunder or lightning does not strike twice, but it has happened 3 times. In this particular instance, you do not want to miss the conversation on the press this morning. All right, let us start the show as usual as we go straight to the weather this morning. And yes, we'll start from Edo State. Edo is first on our weather update this morning. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 10 a.m. in Edo State today. Right now, it is 27 degrees Celsius in Edo, but it's going to be really sunny. By 10 a.m., it will rise to 29 degrees Celsius. You can see the sun peeking out of the clouds. By 11, the sun is no longer shy. The clouds are all gone. It's going to be 30 degrees Celsius. It's going to be hot in Edo State today. By 12 p.m., 31 degrees Celsius, and by 2 p.m., 32 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts are up to 4 kilometers per hour, highs at 33 degrees and lows at 24. There you have it, Edo State weather forecast for today. Hot, hot, hot. All right, next up is Delta State. Delta today is going to be sunny in Delta. Sunny conditions expected around 2 p.m. Right now, it is 28 degrees Celsius. By 10 a.m., it's expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., 31 degrees Celsius. By 12 p.m., 32. And by 1 p.m., 38 degrees Celsius. By then, the sun is going to be overhead. It's going to be really hot in Delta. So take all the necessary precaution to protect yourself. Sunny conditions expected around 1 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 4 kilometers per hour. Highs at 33 degrees Celsius and lows at 24. Bayelsa is up next. Bayelsa, partly cloudy conditions expected around 2-3 p.m. in Bayelsa. Also, it will extend till 4 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 4 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, it is 27 degrees Celsius in Bayelsa this morning, just a few minutes past 9 a.m. By 10 a.m., it's expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., 30 degrees Celsius. By 12 p.m., 31 degrees Celsius. And by 1 p.m., 32 degrees Celsius. Highs at 32 degrees and lows at 24. Away from Bayelsa, let's take a look at Rivers. Rivers is up next, River State. Rainy conditions expected around 3 p.m. in River State. Meanwhile, it is 27 degrees Celsius in Rivers right now. You can see the clouds. It's a cloudy day in Rivers. By 10 a.m., it will rise to 29 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., 30 degrees Celsius. By 12 p.m., it will maintain the same status, but rising to 31 at 1 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 9 kilometers per hour, highs at 32 degrees and lows at 24. Please don't forget, today in River State is going to be mostly cloudy. Away from Rivers, Enugu is our next stop. Enugu State is our next stop this morning on our weather forecast update. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 11 a.m. Meanwhile, it is 27 degrees Celsius in Rivers in Enugu right now, I beg your pardon. By 10 a.m., it will rise to 28 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., 30 degrees. By 12 p.m., 32. And by 1 p.m., 33. By 1 p.m., the sun is not playing. The sun is going to be out raging in Enugu State, so better get prepared. Wind gusts are up to 13 kilometers per hour, highs at 35 and lows at 24. Imo is up next. Let's take a look at Imo this morning. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 11 a.m. Wind gusts are up to 6 kilometers per hour. It is 27 degrees Celsius in Imo right now. By 10 a.m., it will rise to 28 degrees. By 11 a.m., 30 degrees. By 12 p.m., 31. And by 1 p.m., 32 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts are up to 6 kilometers per hour. Highs at 33 degrees and lows at 24 degrees. All right, let us move on now to Lagos. Lagos is our next stop. This morning, partly cloudy conditions expected around 8 a.m., which has started already. Meanwhile, it is 28 degrees Celsius in Lagos, and by 10 a.m. is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts are up to 10 kilometers per hour, highs at 31 degrees and lows at 26. Away from Lagos, let us take a look at Abuja. Let us come back home to Abuja. I love it when you have that font up there saying home. Abuja is home to me right now. Sunny conditions will continue all day in Abuja. Yes, the sun is sunning in Abuja. It's never shy to come out as early as 6 a.m. The sun is overhead. Like I usually tell you on the show, I come to the office with my glasses on to protect my eyes. It is 28 degrees Celsius in Abuja right now. By 10 a.m., it will rise to 30 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., 32, and by 12 p.m., 33 degrees Celsius. It's going to be sunny, as you can see. Highs at 35 degrees Celsius and lows at 23. Wind gusts are up to 29 kilometers per hour, which is the highest so far. Away from Abuja, what's next? Let us take a look at Benue. We have Benue this morning, most definitely. Let's take a look at Benue. Benue is up next. Benue, it is 28 degrees Celsius in Benue right now. Is expected to rise to 30 degrees Celsius by 10 a.m. and by 11 a.m. 32 degrees Celsius. By 12 p.m. 34 degrees Celsius and by 1 p.m. 35 degrees Celsius. Sunny conditions will continue all day. Wind gusts are up to 13 kilometers per hour. Highs at 37 degrees Celsius and lows at 23. Away from Benue, let's take a look at Jos. Jos is up next. Jos, partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1 p.m. in Jos. Meanwhile, it is 21 degrees Celsius in Jos. It will rise further to 24 by 10 a.m. By 11 a.m., 25 degrees Celsius. By 12 p.m., 27 degrees Celsius. And by 1 p.m., 28 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts are up to 26 degrees or 26 kilometers per hour. Highs at 28 degrees and lows at 15. All right, let's take a look at Kano. Kano State this morning. Kano, sunny conditions will continue all day in Kano. The sun is sunning in Kano. It is not shy. By now, it is 20 degrees Celsius in Kano. It will rise further to 23 by 10 a.m., going up to 26 by 11 a.m., and by 12 p.m., 28 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts are up to 23 kilometers per hour, highs at 31 and lows at 15. All right, the last weather update is Kaduna for this morning. It is 23 degrees Celsius in Kaduna right now. But by 10 a.m., it will rise to 25. By 11 a.m., 28. By 12 p.m., 30. And by 1 p.m., 31. Windy conditions expected around 11 a.m. The lowest feels like temperature was 15% around 7 a.m. Highs at 32 degrees Celsius and lows at 18 degrees Celsius. All right. We are done now with our weather report update or forecast for the morning. Let us move on now to what the front pages are saying. And this morning are open with the Punch. The Punch newspaper this morning has the screaming headlines. Rivers in turmoil. APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threat. We have a rider or two Assembly accuses governor of constitutional breaches, issues 7-day ultimatum. Rivers APC faction, others back Fubara. That is our focus this morning. Rivers, impeachment war in Rivers. Thunder is striking, or should I say lightning striking the third time in Rivers State. And the man at the center of the storm is the governor, Simi Fubara. And this time again, he's dragging his deputy along into the storm. And of course, these are the issue we shall be taking a look at this morning. Please sit very close. Hold your telephone so you can call in and be part of the conversation. We want to see our viewers from Rivers State standing by to be part of the conversation once the phone lines are opened. We have more on the front page of the Punch. Above the mast, APC ramps up membership e-registration. I'll tell that again. APC ramps up membership e-registration. Federal government earmarks 1.7 trillion naira in 2026 budget for unpaid contractors. Dangote refinery marketers fuel deal crashes, page 10. And just beside the Punch, insurgency, federal government, U.S. company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. That is on our defense. Talking about insecurity in the nation. If you follow the news, you know that we've had 1 or 2, 3 helicopters crash in the process of defending the nation. And the news this morning says we're expecting fresh delivery. Again, if you take a closer look at the headline, it says the U.S. will do the delivery. Making sense, right? Okay, you let me know once the phone lines are open what you deduce or deduct from this arrangement. All right, Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. Ogun Teenage Boy dies during swimming. That's a very sad one indeed. 2027, SAN leads ADC 21-man Constitution Review Committee. And we have pictorial on the front page of our papers. Protesters clash with federal agency in Swift. Oh, I can't see the font. It is very, very small. I think the ICE confrontation where a lady was killed. We all saw the video. If you haven't seen it, then you can go on YouTube. You will see the visual where that woman was shot in cold blood. And again, that is in the United States, not in Nigeria. All right, let's move on now to the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper is the next we're taking a look at, and it has the same screaming headlines. Impeachment, APC Rivers Assembly at war over Fubara deputy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders to that story. APC, PDP factions reject impeachment move. Drop impeachment threat against governor. PDP split as weakest camp backs Rivers Assembly. Lawmakers accuse governor, deputy of misappropriation, others. Vow not to receive a 2026 budget from Fubara. ADC monitoring Rivers crisis yet to take position. All right, that is the Rivers war. Right now, it is hot in Rivers, like the papers are saying. Impeachment order in order for Fubara, and a lot of allegations against him and his deputy. And he has 7 days ultimatum before the impeachment order is served. There's a lot happening in Rivers. We're yet to see the last of it. Please, once again, be part of the conversation. Nigeria attracts $4 billion US foreign investment in 9 months of 2025. Oxford Dictionary adds mami market and mala, other Nigerian words into glossary. Bloodbath in Benue, Rival court gangs killed 8 in supremacy clash. I wonder when we will see peace in Benue, get good stories from Benue. Now, Benue is a food basket of the nation. I had this experience some years ago. I traveled from Lagos to Enugu, and through Enugu, I entered Benue on my way to Abuja, you know, in the course of doing this fantastic job that I love to do so much. And now this is where I'm going. Years ago, a bucket of oranges, we bought a bucket of orange for 50 naira. Kerosene mango was going, a bucket of kerosene mango was going for 100 naira. We got pineapples. In fact, the car was filled up with fruits, and we barely spent. We didn't even scratch the surface of 1,000 naira to get the car filled up. Yams, we saw mountains, pyramids of yams. Food going rotten. They were actually begging people to buy. That was my first experience of what can come out of Benue State. Unfortunately, these days all we hear is crisis, loss of lives, terrorist attacks, and what have you. And today it is gang related. I don't know what else we will hear coming out of Benue. For me, enough is enough. All right, we move on. Federal government disburses AFCON bonuses to Super Eagles. Yes, so seriously, if you follow the news, remember the players said they were going to go on strike because the bonuses were not paid. And we're happy to get the report this morning that the bonuses have been paid. It didn't have to get to that extent where it becomes push me, I push you for the bonuses to be paid. Well, we do not know the full story. It could have been some bottleneck, as it were, in the process of them getting their payments. You never know. But it's always good to, you know, read behind the lines and get to the facts. I don't have the facts for you this morning, but the fact I have for you is what the papers are saying. They have been paid. So all you sport lovers, relax, relax. The game is still on. All right, let's move away now from the Vanguard to This Day newspaper. This Day is up next this morning. And of course, This Day has the same front page. Rivers Assembly begins a third impeachment proceedings against Fubara. APC fights back, warns lawmakers. That's all my eyes can pick up right now. MAC, ADC reviewing its constitution for inclusiveness, accountability, and fairness. ADC reviewing its constitution for inclusiveness, accountability, and fairness. Tinubu hailed corporate Nigeria, other stakeholders over NGX 100 trillion naira milestone in capital market. That's the front page. Just above the mast, NUPRC, NMDPRA deepen partnership set to resolve regulatory overlaps, other issues. All right, the Vanguard, The Guardian is our next paper. The Guardian is up next. The Guardian also has the screaming headline on River State. It says, Fubara may meet Tinubu as Rivers row escalates with Assembly probe. Page 6. You can see the pictorial there. Those are the players. Wike just beside his son, Fubara. This is one fight that has gone on too far for a father and his son. I wonder where the mother is in all of this. Okay, APC is the new mother in all of this mix. Well, that is politics for you. Should I say, in quote, Nigerian politics. All right, we have more on the front page of The Guardian. BVN enrollment hit 67.8 million, 325 million bank accounts active, says the Central Bank of Nigeria. NCA threatens stiffer sanctions over flight delays, cancellations. Tinubu rallies investors to NGX after 100 trillion naira milestone. Golden Hour rule, how gaps in Nigeria's emergency response compound fatalities. Tax laws, experts warn of disputes, capital flights despite government assurances. All right, we'll move on. We have more paper this morning. Let's take a look at the Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor this morning. Again, Rivers Assembly begins impeachment process against Governor Fubara, condemns governor's continued refusal to respect peace efforts of President Tinubu. APC, PDP rejects impeachment threat against Fubara. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll go on a short break right now. When we return, more for you. Stay with us.
In a world where information is vital to every individual, a platform where technology is a medium to pass information, you can always catch up on all information written in the newspapers, even without having one. Join us on The Press.
Reaching you live from the Abuja studios.
On The Punch for this morning.
Liberty is my next paper this morning. 5 trillion naira VAT windfall for state as new formula begins. This is away from the Rivers brouhaha that we've seen on the front pages of all papers this morning. You can see the pictorial of the president looking all relaxed right there. Still on Voice of Liberty, heavy taxes, low wages, rising debt threaten stability, says the NLC. Heavy taxes, low wages, rising debt threaten stability, says the NLC. Now it's funny that Nigerians are on one side, obviously now with the NLC, complaining about the new tax laws and federal government on the other side. going ahead with what you're doing. Like we said, I think it was on Tuesday, if you followed the show, which actually was our core discussion on the press that early morning. And I was asking my guests if it appears the federal government sometimes take Nigerians for granted because the voice of the people should carry the weight. We are the power. We should tell our leaders what we want. We ask for accountability. We ask for questions. And most times when questions are asked, we hardly get the right answer. Even when the answers are given, it never settles. Low wages, heavy taxes, yet the federal government is forging ahead with the new tax laws that a lot of us still do not understand. Even when you ask those involved, they tell you they don't understand. They can't give you the explanation that you sought, but yet we are going right into it, and the federal government is not backing down. We'll move on. 7.2 million Naira Nigerians may suffer as U.S. exits global agencies. Okay, 7.2 million Nigerians may suffer as U.S. exits global agencies. Over 1 million Ibadan residents in blackout since New Year, according to report. Petrol station workers reject AA Rano's automated fuel stations. Afenifere raises alarm over terror attacks in Yorubaland. Rivers House of Assembly moves to impeach Fubara amid 700 billion Naira IGR feud with Wike. All right, let's take a look at the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent this morning, Rivers crisis, impeachment proceedings against Fubara ill-advised. APC says action politically driven to destabilize state. CLO 6 restraint says there's tension in the state. Assembly's action ill-conceived South youth. Above the mast, failed airtime data transactions, NCC CBN to roll out a refund model. High time. Philippines releases INEC CTC report on Ekiti Guba primaries. U.S. Senate rebukes Trump on Venezuela in world powers vote. NCAA considers stiffer penalties for chronic flight delays by airlines. Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion Naira 2026 budget. New tax laws, insurers worry over profit erosion amid recapitalization exercise. Afenifere asks governors to take action against rising terror in Southwest. All right, we move on to First Daily. Impeachment war, Rivers Assembly comes for Fubara. Assembly slams governor with 8 damning allegations. APC faction rejects impeachment plot, warns don't set Rivers on fire. Speaker threatens mass walkout as impeachment battle spirals. And on a very sad note, Chimamanda Adichie husband mourn loss of twin son. Away from that very sad story, 2027 Momodu names Atiku Amechi Obi as ADC presidential front runners. NBA raises alarm over surge in one-chance murders in the FCT. Police arrest 172 impound motorcycles, tricycles in Kano crackdown. ADC denies secret talks with Jonathan Atiku Obi Kwankwanso. Nigerian Air Force boosts U.S. ties in AH-1Z helicopter program. Mami Market and Mala Nyash enter Oxford English Dictionary. What can I say? Have contention in the pledges to pay Eagles bonuses. Don't worry, the bonuses have been paid. Thank you. All right, we have more papers. The Daily Monitor. Let's take a look at the Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor this morning, again, Rivers Assembly begins impeachment process against Governor Fubara. Condemns governor's continued refusal to respect peace efforts of President Tinubu, APC, PDP, INC, IYC reject impeachment threat against Fubara. All right, still on the Daily Monitor, Nigeria's democracy thriving, not under threat, APC replies Atiku. CBN set to roll out refund framework for failed airtime data transactions. Listed companies, Nigeria ranks 3rd in Africa. ADC inaugurates Constitution Review Committee to deepen internal democracy. Okay, Friday leadership is up next. Let's take a look at Friday leadership. Reaction trails Rivers Assembly's fresh move to impeach Fubara. Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited. Okay, well, congratulations to Engineer Mele Kolokeri. AFCON Super Eagles arrive in Marrakesh for quarterfinal clash. Bonus dispute resolved. Blueprint is up next. Let's take a look quickly at Blueprint. NGX historic 100 trillion naira mark, birth of a new economic reality, says Tinubu. Hills $45 billion foreign reserves in 2025, targets $50 billion 2026. Review reforms tax regime stabilizing economy. Lemo. Reforms tax regime stabilizing economy, according to Lemo. How federal government ended decades of risky river air travel to Bonny Island, Wike. APC kicks as Rivers Assembly begins a fresh impeachment process against Fubara. Delhi Trust is up next with the Rivers story, how Rivers peace deal collapsed again. Delhi Trust. Inflation likely to fall below 10% in 2026, says Tinubu. Citizens, businesses express concern over tax laws. 10 children die of cholera in Taraba. Kano Assembly justifies Governor Yusuf's planned defection. 6 farmers killed in fresh Plateau attack. We have one more paper. Let's see if I can get my hands on it, which is The Authority. The Authority is our last paper, or we were supposed to have sports. Just to take a look at sports, but The Authority is the next paper. It says, why we must impeach Fubara, Rivers Assembly. ABC vows to resist move, cites undue external influence. Crime, Ebonyi police arrest 1,733 suspects in 2025. 43 students bag UNISIC Alumni Scholarship Awards. Tinubu hails Revenue Service Boss Adedeji on his birthday. Above the mast, CBN unveil refund framework for failed airtime data transactions. Tinubu consoles Chimamanda Adichie on death of son. All right, that is all we can take on our front pages this morning. We appreciate you for being part of the show thus far. We have more for you. Don't go away as we take another break, and when we return, our conversation on the show. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Aba in Abuja.
The main agenda here is the promotion of made in Nigeria products.
Could this trigger the much needed change in the telecom industry for better service delivery? Well, as they say, only time will tell.
Welcome to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, the arrival point.
A golden opportunity for the country to showcase its potentials among Committee of Nations. Now, here comes the body, accompanied by her husband from India, where she has been receiving treatment. Total liberalization of the communication sector will bounce back in view of the sentimental attachment to it by Nigerians. The need for the players of the industry to still put their acts together to consolidate on the previous efforts has therefore become imperative. That popular saying that necessity is the mother of invention is beginning to have effect on Nigeria for good. Reporting from Dubai. Hello, I am Ruben Okala. I have not retired. I am refiring at KAFTAN TV. And as you see on KAFTAN TV, get back to work. Welcome to Aba in Abuja.
The main agenda here is the promotion of made in Nigeria products.
Could this trigger the much needed change in the telecom industry for better service delivery? Well, as they say, only time will tell.
Welcome to Nnamdi.
Yes, welcome back. It is the press. I'm glad to let you know that the show is moving on, but unfortunately my guests are not around yet. Actually, one guest just called to cancel, while the other guest says that, he had a flat tire, but is very close by. But we'll continue on the show. If you follow from before the break, I did tell you that our focus this morning is on Rivers State. Our topic, impeachment war, Rivers Assembly's fresh move to remove Fubara deputy. Of course, reactions. I was expecting a full house this morning, but not to worry. You're there to make it as engaging as possible. Make sure you call in once the phone line. In fact, let the phone lines, open the phone lines. Let's open the phone lines immediately. So the show will go on as planned. But first, let us take my analysis for the day. Now, the political crisis in Rivers State has taken a new dimension as the House of Assembly initiated impeachment proceedings against Governor Chinedumuije Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odudu at a plenary session presided over by Speaker Martins Amawele. On Thursday, Major Jack, the majority leader, formally presented a notice of allegations and gross misconduct against the governor. The notice endorsed by 26 lawmakers accused Fubara of actions alleged to be in violation of the Nigerian Constitution. Analyst says the notice will be served on the governor within the next 7 days, in line with legislative procedure. In the same development, the deputy leader, Linda Stewart, laid a separate notice of gross misconduct against Deputy Governor Odudu. The lawmakers accuse her of reckless and unconstitutional spending of public funds, obstructing the assembly from performing its constitutional duties, and conniving to allow unauthorized persons to occupy government offices without legislative screening. Now, recall, this is the third attempt by the Rivers Assembly to impeach Fubara since it became the governor of the state in 2023 amid a feud between him and his predecessor, Chinedumuije, now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. The Assembly first initiated impeachment proceedings against Mr. Fubara in October 2023 over allegations of gross misconduct. However, the impeachment process was dropped shortly after President Bola Tinubu intervened in the political rift between Mr. Fubara and Mr. Wike at the presidential villa in Abuja. In December of that year, the lawmakers officially withdrew the impeachment notice against Governor Fubara following the peace deal signed by Mrs. Fubara and Wike. The peace deal later broke down with the Rivers Assembly stripping Governor Fubara of the power to appoint caretaker committees for local government councils. And it just goes on and on like that. Our topic once again this morning is the impeachment war raging in Rivers State. The crisis is back there again, and Fubara and his deputy are at the center of it all. Again, it's strange, or should I say, it doesn't really settle well, the fact that this impeachment is coming just when Wike happens to be in Rivers State at this time. The allegation from Wike, against Fubara, saying that he did not meet or is coming due to the breach of peace or agreement between him and, of course, Fubara. Before now, if you follow the news sometime last week and even before, the war had been brewing silently before overflowing to what it is right now in Rivers State. Wike has been there shaking the foundation and just shaking Fubara, just gathering dust as he goes along. And unfortunately, we are back to, or Wike is back to where he started from 2023, having the impeachment news hanging over his head again, in 2026. So early in January, and we're having this right now. What we want is peace in the state. We all know what happened during the emergency rule there. Wike and his deputy are barely how many months back in office, and we're having this. Of course, the allegations are much, not just for Wike himself, but also against his deputy, which is huge. If you followed my analysis that I read out, it's so much. The deputy governor was even alleged to have withheld the salaries of workers. Further alleged that Odudu sought budgetary approval from another group instead of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and seized salaries and allowances due to lawmakers and the Assembly Service Commission. It is so much. The question is it enough for another, impeachment gang up against him? Should I say gang up? The Assembly says it's a breach of the Nigerian Constitution. These are really, really a great, huge allegation against Fubara. Like they say, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. I can imagine they are uneased, in quote, Fubara is right now, not just him, but of course his deputy. And the Wike on one side, and of course the APC backing Fubara On the other hand, recall, Fubara just became a new baby of the APC. Again, if you recall, that is one of the eye that Wike has against him, saying, you know, he has is joining the APC is not enough for him to even come back or rule as a governor or have the credibility to be the governor of the state. And, you know, it just goes on and on. It calls to mind the way we play politics in Nigeria, the Nigerian politics or the Nigerian way, which appears to be always different. We are peculiar people in the nation, and our peculiarity pops up in everything we do and everywhere we go, and our politics is one institution that stands out as a nation. So these are the issues unfolding as we expect our guests to join us. The phone lines are open. Please call in and be part of the conversation this morning. We're expecting calls from viewers from River State who I know will be interested to be part of the conversation. The show is seen all over Nigeria. So this is a time for you to come and lend your voice. You know, let us understand, those of you on the ground, what is going on in Rivers right now as the crisis takes a new dimension in the state. We're still expecting our guest to come in this morning. Like I told you, one of the guests cancelled. We're expecting another guest to join us. Now, in my analysis, I did let you know that this is the third attempt by the Rivers Assembly to impeach Mr. Fubara since he became the governor of the state. Since 2026, amid his feud between his predecessor, Innocent Wike, somehow it's Wike is always at the middle of every feud that Fubara has had, be it directly or indirectly with the National Assembly, you know, and of course this big hammer of impeachment that usually stands just there, just waiting to drop. We want your take on what is going on in River State this morning. Call in and be part of the conversation. The question I'm asking is it possible that, you know, with the backing of the APC, and of course you have the president who is involved in the mix of when the APC leaders, they try to intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threat. They've also told the National Assembly to back down, you know, on their move to impeach Fubara. I want to ask the question if you think once again Fubara will scale through, if he's going to survive this final, this particular situation that he is right now, himself and his deputy, the impeachment coming so soon, early in the year. January is not even up to mid-January, and we're having this drama come out again from Rivers. You know, a lot of people have predicted issues like this will come up. It's so sad that we're having this happen, because in the mix of all of this, the people, the citizens of the state, one would, it's better to imagine than see what this confusion is causing on ground for the people of River State, those we elected leaders to serve them. And at the end of the day, they get all of this confusion and wahala, you know, staring them at their faces. Just before one ends, another one starts. And unfortunately, the man at the middle once again is Simi Fubara. We'll take a short break to let this settle as we expect our guest, the one who says is coming, he should be here now. And of course, we expect your calls to come in so you are part of the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there, I am Ruben Okala. Hello, I'm glad to have you join us again on the news on the hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm there putting Baba today.
I am curious. The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omogun. I've not done a change of name.
Adebayo Film and Startimes Network.
We always dish out beautiful material.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there, I am Ruben Okala. Hello, I'm glad to have you join us again on the news on the hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm there putting Baba today.
I am pleased. The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omogun. I've not done a change of name.
Adebayo Film and Startimes Network.
We always dish out beautiful material.
Imagine
Yes, welcome back. The show is on, and I'm glad to let you know that I have one of my guests in the house looking like early morning. My Niger Delta brother is here as we talk Impeachment War, Rivers Assembly's fresh move to remove Fubara deputy. My guest this morning is Prince Odudu, is a co-founder, Tribal AI, a national development consultant and social advocate. And today, he stands in as a social affairs analyst. Prince, it's so nice to have you on the show.
So glad to be here.
It's your second time here.
Yes,
you must have made an impression for you to make it here.
Absolutely.
This
honored.
morning. You're setting the pace for our discussion this morning in your attire, your regalia. You came prepared as a man from that region.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the show will definitely go on, and sometimes when we have certain topics we are not too happy, but we need to discuss and analyze them, and River State right now is one of those, is the least or last that we're expected to see crisis come again from rivers at this time. This is the third time that Fubara will be in the eye of the storm in terms of impeachment. But let us just take an overview of the rivers Wahala, where we are right now. We can talk about now without trying to trace back as early as 2023 where we are right now. And I want your analysis, you know, from the first impeachment to the situation where he and his deputy, you know, had to step aside for a while, and of course coming back to meet this again that we have. Please, Prince, your analysis.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigerians. It's always a pleasure to speak on topical issues like this. The crisis in Rivers State it's been a long time coming. It's not a new scenario. You know, it's something that has been happening in other states since the return of the democratic dispensation in 1999. It reflects deep political undertones and institutional crisis in our political trajectory in Nigeria. It brings to fore the complexities of godfatherism, political structure, party supremacy, and constitutional and legal frameworks in governance in Nigeria. So let's, in the specifics of River States, since the emergence of Fubara, it has been one crisis since, I think after 6 months of his emergence, it is widely acknowledged that he has a boss prior to that. He served under the current Minister of the Federal Capital Territory as one of his commissioners. So from there he emerged as the governor. So as it is in other states where the prior governor would like to actually have his loyalist, it happened in River States, and we now saw problems arising whereby Fubara was threatened with impeachment, and also which caused real security tensions in the state, political and security tensions in the state, which now led to the president calling for a state and putting a state of emergency in the state. Now, and after all the whole presidential bridge to actually mend fences between the political gladiators in the state, I expected that by now we should have gone past this, because whether you like it or not, Rivers is a very peculiar state politically. During the last elections, Rivers had over 3 million people on the voters list, people that voted in the voters list. So it is very peculiar state, 3 million people to the whole total voters register. People that came out to vote, 24 million, is very important. That was over 3.8% of the voting populace at that time. So right now we can actually see the hands of the elections coming in, and that is one of the problems that is causing this second emergence of the impeachment process. I expected that after that trying to bridge the gap by the president, that this will be sorted out, but we can now see that there is a huge fight coming out because of the fight for the political structure for 2027. That is what I see.
Now, you started by talking about godfatherism. This has become a serious problem in our political space, where one person hands over to the next and wants to still dictate the tune months or years after they've left a particular position. And this is creating a lot of problems in the politics in court that we practice in Nigeria.
Yes.
I feel that we take it too far, you know, in terms of this term that we've coined called godfatherism. And at the end of the day, it's the people that suffer, because at the end, when you have confusion,
there's governance deficits.
There's governance deficits.
Yes.
We'll talk about dividends of democracy.
Yes.
they end up not getting it because the main focus, which is governance and serving, goes out of focus, and of course it becomes a war, a battle in the state. And of course Nigerians do not want to see that. True. Especially Rivers State is the baby of the nation. Yeah. Where you have the oil and what have you. It feeds, it's like the pipe of the oxygen of the nation. And when the oxygen of a nation is tampered with, then definitely there will be problems. This is not a situation we want to see on and on happen. Now, in 2023, part of what the allegation against Fubara was gross misconduct. Gross misconduct. And that has always been the bane of the problem. Again, in 2026, January 2026, Amawele, the Speaker, and of course Major Jack, the Majority Leader, also presented allegations of gross misconduct against the Governor. I just want to ask, is it that Fubara has a huge problem in terms of following the law, or is something else? Because, like I said before, lightning does not strike 3 times. This is the 3rd in a row for just one man, and one begins to wonder what is going on with Fubara and his people.
I think the current political crisis is beyond the legislative process. We can actually tell, beyond the legislative process, the bringing up of Section 188 by the State Assembly in Rivers State to impeach Fubara is beyond the allegations in the face value, in the reality, because there's currently a battle for control for the political heart of Rivers State, for the local political structure, and for also attaining that structure to actually have power in the center. So it's a 2-pronged problem right now, because they actually gave the same allegation the last time. Then with they amended their offenses, we thought so, and the same allegations have appeared. So it's very, very clear that it's beyond the allegations that are being brought to fore by the State Assembly, but a political control crisis. A political control, because now there is a problem. Now we have Fubara, who has recently joined the ruling party from the opposition, who has now been supported to say that by the national chairman of the APC, that every governor is the leader of the party in the state. And we now have a very, very powerful national leader who is neither in the, should I say, is neither in the opposition or is neither in the ruling party, but is a very, very strong personality. So we are now looking at a personality war, not even normally it's not supposed to be about the persons in these offices. It's supposed to be about the institutions. So we are now looking at, it has now gone beyond this institutional problem to a personality problem between the 2 main political gladiators in the state. This is the problem. And if it continues like this, it portends grave consequence on our democratic process in Nigeria.
Now, talking about grave consequences on our democratic practice in Nigeria, and of course we're using Rivers as the yardstick for judging that.
Yes.
You've talked about Wike being in the mix of this. You're talking about strong personalities. Should politics be based on personalities, or should it be based on giving to the people what the people want? Should it be based on personality? Should it be based on godfatherism? Should it be based on all this confusion that we are having, or should it be something else? That's the question I'm asking.
Okay.
Then what are the consequences of all of this to politics in River State going forward? That too I would want to find out.
Ideologically, it is not supposed to be about personality. But in every country in the world that practices democracy, the environmental context still plays its way into that democratic process.
And do you think that is the situation
our own
playing out in Rivers right now?
Yes, it's playing. That's the environmental context, because This context arises because the party structure actually puts it in that position, whereby we have, like we just discussed now, saying the governor is the leader of the party in the state. And you now have another person that brought him in that is not in that party in the state, who is supposedly supposed to be loyal to him. So at the end of the day, because of the way our parties are structured, you cannot run from having someone that supports you, who expects you to be loyal, someone that you might have had a prior agreement with. So we are now put in that position because of the way our party politics is structured in Nigeria. That is what is now playing out in Rivers State, whereby the institutions have been derailed, eroded because of the powerful personalities that have been created from the political structures in the state. So it has grave consequences. Now, with this consequence in hand, how is the budget going to be implemented? In fact,
they've said they're not accepting. They're not going to accept the budget until this issue is tackled.
So who's suffering?
And Fubara has been given 7 days. 7 days ultimatum. Now, I want to ask, do you see Fubara scaling through again because he has survived? This is the third one, the third impeachment against him. Do you see him coming out of this, or you think this is a final blow, as it were? Because his deputy also is in the eye of the storm. True. She too has a lot of allegations leveled against her. So it's like a people from Warri say two sides to the cutlass, two sharp edges, not just one, but it's affecting both of them. But I want to find out if you think this time around he may just scale through.
In
your opinion?
In my opinion,
studying,
yes.
the metrics of the matter.
In my opinion, it is. I think it's hinged on two complexities. He will scale out of it if the national structure of the party has solidly behind him. The national structure of the party from the presidency can influence the dynamics in the state. Why am I saying so? Because everything we are looking at, like I said earlier, the crisis in Rivers right now is more about political control than any gross misconduct that is being peddled out there. And it's about the 2027 positioning of the states. It is who controls this structure and delivers these states to the center. How can the center be assured that these votes from these states will be accrued to them in the next election? These are the permutations that are actually affecting the states. So from my own perspective, he can only survive, not even with his, people are saying he should be more, he should not be cowardly, he should be more assertive. It's beyond being assertive. There are already political structures that are there in the state. How can he convince them that, okay, he can actually win this battle? He cannot win without the national. If the national stands solidly behind him and they can actually sway the support to him, he can actually, I think he can survive.
Do you think this particular situation, if, at the end of the day, they are not able to get to a conclusion in terms of peace, do you see another state of emergency emerging again in that state as we move towards 2027? And if it does happen, how would this play out in reference to the elections coming up and of course the expectations for that state, as it were?
I don't think there can be any other state of emergency, because the electoral calendar is going to be opened in a couple of months. So if you are now having another state of emergency, you are now impinging on your access to the state political structure to actually get your win in 2027. I think if this cannot be nipped in the bud as fast as possible, there are going to be implications on security, implications on economy. But security should be the core focus, because whenever there is a crisis in Rivers State, it's usually bloody. So I'm thinking that right now there's going to be more federal interference, and there's going to be more meetings between the political class. As you can see, one of the political gladiators is actually touring the various local government, like he's actually looking for a spot in the ballots. So I think that is also the process. Even if you're the governor and you have support from the center, you actually need to sometimes take a cue from your political opponent and actually do the same thing they are doing, so that you can actually get an edge in the crisis. So I don't see any state of emergency happening, and I actually want to see that the national structure of the APC and the local structure of the APC can align, because that's where the problem is. You can see that the local structure is actually solidly behind the former governor, and the national structure is solidly behind right now on the present governor. So there will be an alignment at the end of the day, but I just think that this is just a way to ruffle feathers and say, okay, this is what we can actually do. It's actually an impeachment for further negotiations, for further alignment at the end of the day. That's what I see.
That's what you see. Okay, aside the governor, his deputy, also Ms. Odo, she's also involved in all of this allegation, and one of the particular one I want to take a look at is the fact that she was alleged to have seized salaries and allowances due to lawmakers, and of course it goes on and on. She refused to honor an agreement reached during a closed-door meeting convened by the president, and it's so much going on in Rivers State right now. I would want us to touch a little bit on the deputy governor also being in the middle of all of this confusion, not just the governor himself, but the deputy governor.
Okay. For me, I feel that at the end of the whole political crisis, the one person that can actually be sacrificed on the political front burner, on the political furnace, is actually the deputy governor. Because if there is going to be further alignment and she's, if we want to get this settled, can you give us another person? I think the state governor can actually accede to that request. So for the state's deputy governor, I don't see the deputy governor having that political might to actually wade through the storm, except the governor can actually shoulder and protect her from the storm. So basically, I feel that right now, she's part of the bargaining chip for the legislators in actually getting the governor to actually do their bidding. So at the end of the day, like I said, she might be the only one that might be sacrificed at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Yes.
Okay, I want us to go back a little bit to Wike's involvement, in all of this, because it's one decimal, one problem, one focus that people often talk about. And I'm just wondering, that man comes from that state, and one would expect that peace should be the focus for him. He should pursue peace to the end with Fubara or any other person that is the governor of the state, because that state is strategic to Nigeria, as it were. I'm just trying to, I'm wondering, sometimes when we gather and we talk, not in front of the camera, we try to pick the mind of the man, Wike. We try to understand him. Is one man that confuses, in quote, the hell out of everyone. I'm just wondering what he stands to gain, in this continued path of restlessness in River State, and of course with the present situation in the state right now, going by all that has happened since 2023. What do you think is focus? We know politics is at the end of it. We know power tussle is at the end of it. You've talked about personality, as it were. What about the bigger picture? What do you think is the bigger picture in terms of all the dust he raises in that state, especially the one going on right now?
I think even if it was not Wike and Fubara that are on the epicenter of the crisis, even if it were other people, if we were to have that hypothesis, the same crisis will still play out.
With him involved?
With or without him involved.
Why so?
The state is peculiar because you have a different, should I say, ethnic divide. You know, Fubara is more of the Ijaw stock, and is different from the Ikwere stock. So, and right now, they want more political consolidation. So even if it were not the same personalities, and there was still the same scenario, it will still lead to crisis. So I don't think the actors in this crisis actually want the restlessness, the war to start, but in the quest for political control, all these appurtenances do rise up at the end of the day. That's why I say it's beyond their personalities now. The state is very peculiar for the national elections. It's also very peculiar for the local politics of the state, because it's a state that has very strong political structure. We have few states with that kind of structure. We have Lagos, for example. Lagos and Rivers have the same type of political structure, but what differentiate them is that Lagos, you have full Yoruba stuff, but now you have divergent political interest, and also the ethnic interest plays itself out in that state. So beyond the personalities, I feel that if we are to see that scenario playing out, it will still lead to crisis, because first of all, it's from problems from loyalty, prior agreements, political control. Is beyond the current legislative process being put out. It's just an excuse. And it's sad that legislative processes could be used for blackmail and for political control instead of actual governance processes. So for me, I would like to call on the political gladiators to actually sit on the same table and align at the end of the day, because without alignment, I foresee potential security dangers, and it wouldn't be good for the state, because Nigeria produces 1.8 million barrels of oil per day. I think Rivers contributes over 350,000 to that. So it's a very, very important state to the nation. So if we have that being stored is a problem economically, we will actually face it as a country. And politically, it's going to be very terrible, because Rivers is a very important state. So I call on the political gladiators to sheath their swords and let's get peace running in the states. That's all.
Now let's put Rivers a little bit on the side and take a look at politics in Nigeria, as it were. 2027 is around the corner. By June, July, the doors, windows, cracks,
yes.
the roof,
yes.
everywhere will be opened, and the polity will heat up towards that race to 2027.
Yes.
As a Nigerian, what are your expectations? Not to forget what is happening in the Rivers, because we can't talk about politics in Nigeria right now, this present time, without a reflection of what is going on in Rivers. But as a Nigerian, what are your expectations for 2027? And of course, starting from now towards the build-up in terms of politics, what type of politics would you want to see?
I would like to see
this period.
Yes, I'd like to see a politics of ideology, and politics where the youth are more involved, not just involved in critiquing or criticizing the government, involved in actually taking elective seats and actually being part of the political process from an ideological standpoint. You know, we have a herd mentality in Nigeria. If someone says, okay, this is the way to go, they are socially engineered to follow that place. People are not individually thinking. I want an election process that where individuals can actually research and actually take, should I say, intellectual actions when it comes to the electoral process. So I look forward for more youth participation. I look forward to ideological side of the politics. And I look forward to a politics whereby the INEC is, I don't want to say, INEC should come out with integrity to actually ensure that the right of the people are met. Because right now, for us to avoid apathy, even as we discuss River State, you have 93,000 people on the voters registration list. Then you have 24,000 people coming out of that. That's very poor. So it's actually showing low participation. And this was even in 2023 when the youth actually came out. So if we do not have, if the people can actually perceive INEC as being, having integrity to actually ensure that their vote counts, there will be problems. So I think it all boils down to INEC at the end of the day, and actually the political will from the presidency at the end of the day.
We don't have time anymore. We have just barely 30 seconds. If you have a message for Fubara this morning, what will you tell him as we round up?
I would like him to look at the people of the state as his core responsibility. That's the reason why I was voted in the first place, to see that his actions actually should be positive. It should actually impact favorably on the people of the state, and he should actually take assertive decision to actually stand his ground as a governor, and to ensure if the legislative processes from the throwing up of Section 188 at him, if he has not been notified in the legal way, he can actually go to court with that. So my message to Fubara is for him to actually know the nuances of his office and actually live to that stance as a governor, and actually align with the political interest of the state to actually bring peace at the end of the day.
Well, there you have it. That is our show this morning. I want to appreciate my guest, Prince Odudu, who is a co-founder, Tribal AI, a national development consultant and social advocate, is also a social affairs analyst. Prince, I appreciate your efforts in being here today.
Thank you so much.
To ensure that the show is a success. I appreciate you.
Yes.
And yes, that is the show. Before we go, I want to wish my president, Prince Adewale Adebayo, a happy birthday once again. I salute you, sir. Congratulations, more blessings, more laurels, higher and higher. That's the show. My name is Anire Binitie. Thank you for watching the show. Next week, Monday is another date, Monday to Friday. Make sure you are a guest on the flip side, following and doing the needful. You can catch up on YouTube. This is a live going on right now. You can catch up the full episode on YouTube later. Subscribe to KAFTAN Television. My name is Anire Binitie. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.